Last month I hiked the West Highland Way for the first time, and last night I got a message saying, doing the West Highland Way next month, best tips. So instead of just writing a message out, I thought I'd just make a quick video while I'm out on a hike today. So I wanted to do it while it's all still quite fresh in my mind. It's in no specific order or out like that, just one of them ones. Just have a chat. So when is the best time to do it? Now I actually planned to do this trip at the end of April, and I made that decision last year, really. Well, I had it in mind anyway, it was certainly on the cards. And the reason for that being midges. Midges are an absolute bastard, and they can not ruin a trip, but they can certainly make it less enjoyable. I've been to Scotland before in the summer, in the previous summer, and got absolutely annihilated by midges more or less every day that I was there. So I think midge season is mid-May to around September. Obviously it's not bang on, they don't just turn up one day, but that's roughly the time when they come out most. So that's why I chose to go at the end of April. Now the guy who sent this message is going next month, so obviously the midges are going to be out in full force. So I'd recommend taking some smidge, taking a head net at the very minimum. There's even stuff that you can spray all your gear with, and it's supposed to stop attracting the midges as much. I don't even know where I am today, I'm just out walking local, but I've never been up this track. I've chose to wear shorts, and there's loads of nettles. One of the benefits of doing it at this time of year is the daylight hours, so you're going to get a lot of time during the day while it's still light to get your hiking done. But really I'd recommend doing it in April or maybe in September, October time. You don't really want to go any later than that because you're going to lose out on a lot of that daylight hours, and it's going to be a lot colder, so you're going to need to take more kit. More kit means a heavier bag. So I would definitely advise keeping your pack weight down to a minimum. If you don't need to bring it, don't bring it. I know we all like us luxuries and that when we're camping, but for these long distance trails, it's not really worth it. Obviously you can bring a few stuff that you might want, say for a nice comfy pillow is going to guarantee you get a good night's sleep. But yeah, a lot of stuff, you don't need it for these long distance trails. Just go pretty minimal and you'll probably enjoy it a lot more because you're not carrying all that extra crap. Be better on your knees and better on your feet as well. That wind's gone up, I hope you can hear me properly. Speaking of feet, blisters can ruin a trail, to be honest. They can absolutely destroy you. But luckily I didn't get any on this trip. But what you want to do while you're hiking, as soon as you start feeling like you might be getting a little hot spot, stop. Take your trainers off or your boots off, take your socks off and assess your feet. Make sure you pack plenty of plasters. I recommend some Compeed plasters. Put them straight over the hot spot and that'll certainly help. Sock wise, now I bring, sorry I keep stopping, it's because I'm getting lost, so I'm just making this hike up as I go along. I've not plotted out, I'm just walking. Socks wise, I swear by wearing 2 pairs of socks. One that is a really thin toe liner sock from Injinji, and then over the top of that some darn tough merino wool socks, and that seems to serve me well, to be honest. Look at the state of that. And that'll probably be my choice for all my long distance trails. Injinji toe sock liners and darn tough socks over the top. I took 2 spare pairs of darn tough socks and 1 spare pair of the toe sock liners. So let's continue on the subject of feet. Trail runners or boots. Now it's personal preference really, but I will always go for trail runners on anything long distance. Anything that isn't in winter really, I really prefer the trail runners. They're lightweight, much comfier in my opinion. You might not feel like you get as much ankle support, but with plenty of training, that shouldn't be an issue. Just make sure whatever you're wearing, don't buy some brand new shiny boots just before you're about to do West Highland Way, just for that trail in particular. make sure you break them in properly. Wear them on plenty of multi-day hikes, even just walking around local. You don't have to be going up mountains or out like that. Just plenty of long distance. The West Highland Way isn't that technical, to be honest. There's a few bits that are a bit, you know what I mean. Walking around edge of Loch Lomond, you've got to watch your footing because there's loads of tree roots and all that sort of stuff. But relatively, it's not that technical. There's a lot of flat paths. There's a few little hills. Devil's Staircase for one, and the bit when you're coming up back out of Kinloch Leven, that's a bit of a bastard. But majority of it is quite flat. Another plus for trail runners is they dry a lot quicker as well. So I won't worry too much about your footwear being waterproof, because if you get wet, you get wet. You'll just have to dry them out when you can. What I do advise is you always have a dry pair of socks when you're at camp, so that when you get to your camp spot at night, you pitch your tent up, you're not going to be sat there with wet feet. I'd recommend taking your socks off, dry your feet out as much as you can, and then slipping on a nice cozy pair of warm socks. So I wore these Ultra Lone Peak 7s, and as you can see, they've got a really wide toe box, and that just lets your toes spread out a little bit, which should stop that rubbing, which then should stop any blisters. Now, before you even get to the start of the trail, obviously you're gonna have to do a little bit of planning. How are you gonna get to Milngavie? Are you gonna be driving up there, getting a train? I opted to get a train. So I'm from West Yorkshire, Bradford. I got a train from Bradford to Preston, up to Glasgow, and then one from Glasgow to Milngavie. I just prefer getting the train, because then you know you don't have to drive back after a massive hike, and you never know how you're going to be feeling once you've finished. You might not be arsed driving 6 hours home or whatever it is. So if you get the train, you're literally 5 minutes off the start of the trail. So that's ideal, really. You also need to think about what kit do you need? What kit have you already got that you can use? I won't go too much into the kit because I've done a full gear rundown video. I'll link that at end so you can check that out, and you can see every single item that I brought with me when I did the West Highland Way. You need to think about, will you be doing it solo? So for long distance hikes, I think I prefer doing them solo. Well, I don't know, because I've not done them not solo, if that makes sense. But I just think you can go at your own pace. You can have a break when you want. You can hike for as long as you want. If you want to keep going, you can keep going. You don't have to worry about someone else that might be struggling, or if you're struggling and someone else just wants to crack on. Obviously, you don't want to feel like you're slowing them down or out like that. So yeah, I just prefer the solo stuff, especially when it comes to filming and that with a long distance trail. Last thing your mate next to you want is you stopping every 5 minutes because you're wanting to get that perfect walk by scene or whatever. But anyway, you need to think about how long are you planning on taking doing the hike. Is it going to be 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days, 9 days? You can take as little as you want and as long as you want. It's not a race. You just got to do it at your own pace and enjoy it. Are you going to be wild camping, or are you going to be booking campsites, or are you going to be doing a bit of both? There's also hotels on the way if you want the little bit of luxury. I chose to do wild camping just because that's what I do. I do wild camping. I've never stayed on a campsite, so I wasn't really going to change that. And I like the freedom that you get from wild camping, from being able to just say, right, I'm going to stop here and pitch up. The only area you sort of got to worry about in Scotland, well, on the West Highland Way, sorry, is the permit zone at the first half, I think it is, of Loch Lomond. I actually camped in a permit-only zone without a permit, so don't do what I did. And that was just because I got to the end of my hiking day and I had to pitch up. It was one of them. So I could have continued hiking, but then it had started getting dark. Obviously, that's not very safe, really, is it? And you're there to enjoy the view, so what's the point hiking in dark? So yeah, I found a nice little stealthy spot away from the path and just pitched up. And I was gone nice and early, so I wasn't harming anybody. But yeah, I do advise you get a permit stick to the rules. Just makes sense, doesn't it? And although it is important to do plenty of planning and that, just to make sure you've got the right gear really, I wouldn't overthink it. I'd pick your dates, I'd make sure you're well trained, and I'd just crack on and get it done. Don't overpack your food as well. I took with me 4 dehydrated meals and I brought 2 of them home with me. Don't get me wrong, I did it in like 3 days and 8 hours. So I didn't have as many meals as I would have done if I were doing it across like 7 days or whatever. But there's so many places to eat along the way. You've got the honesty boxes, you've got the cafes, there's so many pubs. You've also just got shops and stuff which you can stock up on sandwiches or just munch. So yeah, I wouldn't overdo it with the food. You might want to bring some like energy bars or something like that, or some snacks just for that first day, but yeah, there's so many places. There's even a co-op at Kinloch Leaving, so you can really stock up for that second half at trail. And that's same with water as well. There's so many places to get water. So I advise you make sure you bring a water filter. I brought the Gàidhealtachd B3, and I never really needed to carry much more than a litre of water, because there's so many streams and rivers and just places to fill your water up along the route. And don't feel the need to rush the trail either. When I set off, I initially thought I'm going to spend about 6 days doing it, maybe 5 nights or 6 nights. And I ended up doing 3 nights, so 3 days and 8 hours, because I set off from the start at dinner time on the first day, and then I'd finished by late evening on the 4th day, if that makes sense. So I genuinely didn't rush the trail. It's just when I got to my camp spots, or where I thought I was going to camp, it was like 2 in the afternoon, and I don't know, I had plenty of walking left in me, so I just carried on, and I was just enjoying it, doing it that way. But if I were to do it again, I might do it across maybe 5 nights, and just maybe get some better camping spots, if you know what I mean. Just look for that perfect pitch, maybe climb up a bit higher, deviate off the track a little bit, just to get that perfect wild camping spot. But really, it's just about finishing the trail, let's be honest. The camping comes second on a trail like this for me. It's all about the hiking. The camping is just somewhere to rest your head. And if you are wild camping it, there is endless places to pitch. Scotland is pucker when it comes to wild camping. But just remember, guys, this goes without saying, and I'm sure if you're doing the West Highland Way, then you more than likely know the rules of wild camping. You leave no trace. Take all of your shit with you. Do not leave anything behind, and just look after the place. Respect the outdoors, but I'm sure that goes without saying. If you're watching this video, hopefully you're aware of that anyway. When it comes to navigating the trail, I didn't take a map and compass because I don't know how to use a map and compass. I'll just be honest with you. I never take them on any of my trips because there's no point taking them if you don't know how to use them. Maybe I should learn, I don't know. But these days, with the technology, as long as you download your map so that your phone can use it while it's offline, because you're not always going to have signal on the trail, I'd say honestly, 80–90% of the time, whenever I looked at my phone, I had some form of signal, and I'm on EE, so that's pretty good. And the trail is well marked as well, so navigating it is pretty easy, but just make sure you have got a map with it downloaded for offline use. I more than likely get lost where I am now, because I'm just out in open countryside, not even far from my house, but I'm just walking and talking, and just following wherever the path takes me, and then I'll worry about getting home later. But yeah, speaking of phones, actually, make sure you've got some form of power bank with you. So I took an Anker 26,800 milliamp hour power bank, and that gave me enough charge to charge all my stuff. That is probably a bit overkill, to be honest. 20,000 would be enough, because I certainly didn't use it all once I'd finished the trail. Oh man, sorry, I had to have a little stop then. I've just seen someone that watches the videos. It's Good Bloke Outdoors, and he don't even live far from me. He said he's drove past my house and seen me working on Volvo and thought, that's Good Bloke Outdoors. But yeah, that made me laugh, that, when he came up and just shook my hand then. I didn't even get his name. I'm so shit at meeting people that watch the videos, honestly. But yeah, what was I saying about power banks? So when I'd finished the trail, I still had plenty of juice left in my power bank. There is places that you can charge up en route as well. I charged my phone at the Real Food Cafe in Tindrum. I didn't need to, but if there's a plug there, you might as well make most of it and get your devices charged. And obviously with me filming my hikes, I like to bring a nice big power bank just in case I need to charge the GoPro. Although I did bring 7 batteries, I think, on this trip. Might even been 8. I might have had 1 in the camera and then 7 spares. But I didn't go through them all, so that's good. A few other things that I definitely recommend you bring as well. Electrolytes, sun cream. I didn't bring sun cream, and on day 2 or day 3, I'm not sure which it was, my legs were red raw, which means on the last day, I think it was last day, I'm getting lost with days to be honest, I ended up having to wear my leggings because my legs were just burnt to a crisp on back, my calves and lower thighs, yeah, red raw, man. And yeah, with pants as well, or trousers, I do prefer hiking in shorts. I just like it, but obviously with Scotland, with a lot of places, you have got to worry about the ticks. Well, not worry about them, I don't worry about them, but you've got to at least check for ticks. I've never had a tick, touch wood. Probably going to be getting some now, walking through all this long grass, and with it being a woodland area. I think they like the woodland areas more. That's what I've read anyway. But yeah, so if you do want to wear shorts, it might be worth definitely bringing some leggings. Obviously, you want to bring some waterproofs. I've just got some waterproof over trousers, which I put over my shorts. So for me, for long distance hikes, shorts are the one. Obviously, weather dependent. If you're going and it's going to be freezing because of the time of year when you are hiking, then it might be worth bringing some trousers as well. When it comes to the weather, be prepared for all 4 seasons when it comes to Scotland. Just because you might be going in the middle of summer, you can't expect the sun to be ablazing all day long, because it can change like that. The rain can arrive, it can be pretty cold, and yeah, you just got to be prepared really. One day it can be sun's ablazing with the sunnies on and all that. Next day it could be pissing it down and you've got your waterproofs on. But that's just what you get when you go outside in the great outdoors. Expect the unexpected, but be prepared. What's the saying? If you fail to prepare, be prepared to fail. Or something like that, I don't know. But anyway, there's probably so many tips that I've forgotten, and I wish I'd have just wrote stuff down, to be honest. But this were a spur at moment hike and a spur of the moment chat. I just thought I'd let you know a few tips. There's probably loads more that I have forgotten, but it is what it is. Hopefully a few of these will help you. Like I said, I'll link the kit video with every single item that I took on the West Highland Way at the end of the video, as well as my West Highland Way playlist. So check that out if you've not done it already. I did 3 videos of my West Highland Way trip. Right guys, thank you for watching. I need to find my way home. We're not far away. All is good. Peace out in a bit. Thanks for watching.